Hello and welcome everybody. Welcome back to the gathering, Terry's Travels. Hi, Ashley.
Hi, Terry.
How you doing tonight?
I am doing well. How are you?
Awesome. I am too, thank you. And I'd like to welcome all of the viewers, and I'm hoping you all had a great summer. As you might remember, I took a little break for my daughter's wedding. She got married in April in New Orleans. And so I thought, getting back into the show, what a better place to visit would be the Big Easy with a New Orleans dinner. Now, if you think back to the first appreciation dinner, where I prepared a meal for the police and the firefighters in town, we had a meal, a Louisiana dinner based around, hurricane time. So we had a Louisiana summer salad, we had Cajun cornbread and shrimp and andouille sausage skewers, we had jambalaya, and then we had king cakes. So you're not going to have any of that tonight. We're going to have what the locals would mostly have. And so on tonight's menu, we're going to have a Louisiana Sunray salad, blend of the Bayou seafood casserole. We're going to have Cajun Maque corn, which is a side dish. And then we're going to finish it off with a Cajun cake and hurricane punch, because, it is kind of like appropriate with what's going on today, right? And our hearts and prayers and thoughts go out to everybody in Florida who are witnessing Hurricane Ian. So to start tonight's dinner, we're going to start with the Cajun cake. And what I have is 2 large eggs beaten, 1 large can of chopped pineapple, undrained, 2 cups of flour, 1.5 cups of sugar, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and 1.5 teaspoons of baking soda. Now for the topping, I'm going to read that off now because we're going to do it later. But for the topping, we have 1 stick of butter, 1 cup of sugar, 3/4 cup of evaporated milk, a teaspoon of vanilla, 1 cup of flaked coconut, and 1 cup of chopped pecans. And like I said, we'll make that later. But right now we're going to start with the cake. And so I have the oven preheating to 350. And what we're going to do is we're going to take the pineapple, put the pineapple in the mixer. And as you all know, right, baking is not my forte, but I do give it a good go. And then we're going to take the eggs, and then we're going to beat that. We'll get that going for a little bit. Get that going, get these out of the way. And then what we're going to do is we're going to mix all the dried mixture, which is the 2 cups of flour, and then the 1.5 cups of sugar, and then the teaspoon of salt and 1.5 teaspoons of baking soda. And we're going to whisk that in a bowl. Get this out of the way. And then I think that's good. And I'm going to do this. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put the dry mixture in with this. Get this out of the way. And then we're gonna beat this up a little bit. Now, while I'm doing this, Ashley, why don't you pull up the first picture of the bridge over Lake Pontchartrain. And this was at one point the longest bridge in the world. When you're flying into New Orleans, you fly over it. And as we were flying into it, I looked out the window. I said, oh my goodness, is that a bridge? And the person sitting next to me said, yes, it is. And so I did a little research, and there you have it. It was a bridge, in fact, and it connects. It's 23.83 miles long. It's wow. It connects Metairie to Mandeville. And my son-in-law, if he's listening, excuse me, because I might be really massacring the pronunciation, so forgive that. I'm gonna turn up the heat a little bit, yeah, on the mixer. Get this. It's pretty well combined. That's good. Oh, there you go. There you have it.
Took me a
and
minute,
you can see, right? So you can see how big that bridge is. I was like,
is that bridge, is the bridge the line right there?
Yeah, yeah. Up,
wow.
up at the top of the screen, pretty much going across.
Yes.
Exactly. I was like, oh my goodness. So yeah. Okay, so this looks pretty good. And I am going to now take this out. And I do have, now remember, here's the topping, right? But I'm going to move this over here because we're going to do the topping later, as I mentioned. So we're just going to get those ingredients out of the way and bring this pan to the forefront. And I'm going to take out the batter and just pour it into this glass pan. And you know, you kind of ask yourself, well, is glass, Pyrex, or whatever you have, is it good to bake in? And it actually is, because it just cooks somewhat better than the metal pans, from what I did read. But again, you know me, this is not my forte. So
looks like you're doing great so far.
Okay, so here's the cake. It's going to go into a 350 oven for 30 minutes. So it's 7 past, so maybe 25 of or thereabouts. So I'm going to put this on the bottom because our next dish, which I am going to start warming up the fry pan for our main dish, and that's going to be our next dish. And I just want to move that out of the way. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is going to bring out the ingredients for the main course. Okay. And this is blend of the Bayou seafood casserole. Now, if you haven't been to Louisiana, I have to tell you, being from the north, we have the cold water. So our seafood tastes different from what they have down there. It's very good, but it's different. So, so it's just very interesting. So what I have here, okay, and we're kind of all over the place here, but we have 1 pound of cooked medium shrimp, 1 pound of crawfish cooked, and you can get that anywhere. If you can't find crawfish, you can use crab meat. 1 package of cream cheese divided. I have 4 tablespoons of butter divided. I have 2 ribs of celery chopped, large onion chopped, large green pepper chopped, 1 can of condensed cream of mushroom soup, 1 cup of cooked rice. Recipe says 3/4, but I used a cup. 1 pound of sliced mushrooms, a teaspoon of garlic chopped. We will have, as I have my little hot sauce over here, 3/4 of a teaspoon of hot pepper sauce, 1/2 teaspoon of cayenne pepper, 3/4 cup of shredded cheddar cheese. Now this is for the topping. And then 1/2 cup of crushed flavored crackers. So now for the topping, we have the crackers, the cheddar cheese, the butter, and some cream cheese. We're going to keep this over here. But right now, we're going to cook the rest of it in the fry pan. And while we're doing that, why don't you bring up the other picture of the Mississippi River, which New Orleans is on the Mississippi River. So that would give you a little idea. And you know, it's funny because like crawfish, they call crawfish mud bugs. And if you look at that picture, you can see how brown the water is.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the river that that's the river that the city sits on. So that's pretty interesting, I think.
I like the boat in the background there.
Yes, and that is a ferry that they give tours on every day, and the ferry plays music. So if you're walking by there, you hear the music playing, and then you go out on the cruise on the river, which is pretty
fun.
neat. Yeah, so I am going to I also need to start my small pan, and this would be for the topping. And what I'm going to do there is I'm going to heat the butter and the cream cheese, and I'm going to melt those together until they get nice and smooth. So that can sit in a slow pan while I'm doing the other things. Now in the fry pan, I'm going to add the garlic. I'll add the garlic and then the onion. You can hear that. And the onions and then the peppers. And you just want to make sure everything gets nice and soft. So we're going to saute all this. And once we get everything in the pan, sauteed, nice and soft and cooked, we're going to throw it in this and then top it with the topping and then put it in the oven. And that'll go for another 30 minutes so that by the time everything comes together, we should be good. So I'm just going to add everything in here. And, you know, you hear it, previous shows, it's like, gee, wish we had smell-o-vision because especially tonight's show, because the, all the spices and the pepper, and it's just wonderful. Okay, so as we're moving along, let's talk about the history of New Orleans. When it first came to be, it volleyed between Spain and France. So Spain had the territory for a while, and then France had the territory for a while. And the architecture, you can see it as witnessed in the French Quarter, which we'll see later on. The food is influenced by Spanish and French cooking, as well as West African. And the United States purchased Louisiana in 1803. the Louisiana Purchase. And that's when we took it over. And then things really just started coming together. So that's pretty interesting, I think. It's funny, every state, right, has its own history. And that's pretty interesting. So the next item that we can talk about is the Fleur-De-Lis, which is, as you'll be able to see in this picture coming up, it's a symbol, and you can see the symbol all over the city. They have it in the state flag. The New Orleans Saints, yep, there it is. The New Orleans Saints have it on their helmet. They have it on their flag. And that right there pays homage to a royal French family. It means the flower of the lily. In the French monarchy, the royal house of Bourbon was their symbol. So they adopted it in Louisiana. And
I never knew that. That's cool.
It's very cool. Yeah. And you see it all over. So that's pretty interesting. Now, here's another fun tidbit that I'm not sure a lot of people know about, but they call New Orleans the Big Easy. And any idea how they got that name?
No.
Right. Well, back in the 80s, when New York came up with the Big Apple, New Orleans was like, well, you know what? We're a great city. We have to come up with a name. And they came up with the Big Easy. And there you go. I don't know if you can see it on my t-shirt.
Yes.
Love
it.
And so that's how they came up with the name. That was their answer to New York's Big Apple. And when you think about it, it's pretty cool because you've got New York, where everything's done in a New York minute, but then you get down to Louisiana and it's slow and it's fun and it's relaxed and easy. So you can see how that came about. Okay, so the topping is coming along. The ingredients for the main course is coming along. These are warming up. The cream cheese is melting. I'll give you a look. One of these days, we're going to get an overhead camera, but you can see it.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
and it smells really good. And for this, I'm going to add the rice and get that all mixed in. Then we'll add the seafood, and then we'll put it in this pan and then get the topping going. But as you can see, as long as you have all your ingredients prepped and ready, it goes fast. So if you're doing this during the week or on a weekend, it's a great meal to serve and experience how the locals eat, because you know, you've got your regular dishes, your poor boy sandwiches, your beignets, God, you name it, the French cooking, the escargots, the seafood, the shrimp. One of the greatest dishes I had there was turtle soup. Now, you know, you order a thing of soup and you get the gumbo and you get turtle soup and you're eating it and you're kind of thinking, well, gee, is this really turtle meat? So of course, you know, being as inquisitive as I am, I just can't leave it alone. I asked the waiter, is this really turtle meat? And he said, yes, yes. They have an abundance of turtles down there. Been doing it for years. And let me tell you, it was delicious. And you hear the saying, kind of tastes like chicken. Well, it kind of did. It was just, it didn't taste fishy. It was really good. And I was like, oh, I really like this.
Did you try fried legs down there too?
Sorry?
Did you try fried legs down there too?
No. And I have to say, I have to say, to this day, I've not tried those. I know. One of these days, I just threw the shrimp in. I'm adding the crawfish now. And boy, this is really looking beautiful, I have to say. And again, it smells great.
So what do you think was your favorite dish down there?
Down there?
Yeah.
Oh boy. Oh, that's really hard, because the first day we were there, we had the poor boys, and we had the soups, and then they have, oh God, there's just so many things. They had boudin, I want to say, which is a type of sausage. Just, I don't know, just everything was so good. Yeah. Hard to like put a handle on it, I have to say. I've got the topping going, and this is almost ready to put into the pan here. And because the shrimp was pre-cooked, the crawfish was pre-cooked, the rice was pre-cooked, you don't have to spend a lot of time. The vegetables, they've sauteed, so that's good. And what I'm going to do is I am going to put it in over here. Just, well, maybe I can do it over here. I think I can. I'll just bring this over. I'm always, you know, fearful. It's like, oh my goodness, what if I drop it? Now this, it's interesting. It smells so good. It reminds me of paella, and that's one of my favorite Spanish dishes to make. I've made it on one of my shows at a paella party, which was really, really good. Put that in the sink. Isn't this pretty?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, again, right?
Too good to eat.
This could feed an army, and it will. It will last a while, no doubt. No doubt. Okay, so that's that. And I'm going to just mix up the topping. Now, I got this smooth, and I don't know if you can see it, but the butter and the cream cheese are melted. And what we're going to do is we're going to pour the cheese in here and get that kind of mixed in there. Nice. And then we're going to take the crackers and put the butter, crushed butter crackers in here. And of course, you know, it called for what? What did the recipe call for? Half a cup? Well, you know, that's not happening with me. I really like crunchy topping, you know, so I definitely put a lot in there, and this will be good. So as you can see, looks pretty good. So I would suggest you kind of put it in the middle and spread it around. The cheese is nice and melting. You've got the cream cheese and the cheddar cheese and the butter, right? Who loved butter? Julia Child, right? Remember that? You're too young to remember, but during the 80s and the 90s, butter was bad. Then all of a sudden, butter got good again. So I never stopped liking butter. And that's going to make a beautiful topping here. So here you have it. And this is going to go in the oven for a half an hour, just about before when the cake gets done. And the cake is coming right along, so that's good. Okay, so now that we're doing that, I can start the other dish, which is the Cajun Maque Choux corn dish. Now, this is a dish that is flavored with what they call the Trinity, which is the onion, pepper, and what else is there? Onion, pepper, red pepper, bacon, red pepper, onion, jalapeno. Here we go. Yes. The corn. We've got the corn in here. We've got the Cajun seasoning, and we have chicken stock. Now, I am going to heat up this cast iron pan. I'm going to heat this up over here, and maybe around medium-high heat, because what we're going to do is we're going to fry the bacon in the pan, get that going. And then we're going to get it crispy. Then we're going to stir the corn in and everything else, and then add the chicken stock. Just let it get warm. And that's that. So we're moving right along. And let's see, how about bringing up the picture of the St. Louis Cathedral? Now, this is a very famous church. It is the oldest practicing Catholic diocese in the country. And it's pretty well known. The image is used in a lot of things. So it's quite beautiful. And it's right outside of the park. It's right by the park. So if you're walking down there, and it's just, you know, within the French Quarter, off to the side, it's just beautiful. Speaking of the French Quarter, I think I have a couple of pictures of, well, at least one picture of the French Quarter. I think I have it at night, which is just, it's breathtaking. It's always bustling. It's around the clock, music all over the place. You go into a bar and you hear music. And if you want to, you want to bring, isn't that beautiful? Yeah. You want to bring your drink out with you, you get a to-go cup and you walk around. It's just amazing. And all these buildings have those balconies with the lace wrought iron. That's just beautiful. And again, you can see the architecture from the French and the Spanish. That's just beautiful. Now, the architecture had a big European influence over there. And Bourbon Street itself pays homage to France's ruling family, the House of Bourbon. So it's not for the booze.
I thought it was.
Right. Everybody thinks, oh, wow, you know, party time, Bourbon Street. You know, is there a vodka street? Is there a martini street? No, it pays homage. And if you walk around the French Quarter, there are all these plaques around, and they're all named after families from over in Spain, over in France. It's really interesting. So I'm over here crisping up the bacon. Now I put this right in a hot cast iron pan because the grease from the bacon is going to allow me to saute everything else with the flavored fat versus putting any oil in it. So this is pretty neat. I'm gonna keep that going. I think the cake, we have a good 7 more minutes, I think, maybe even 10, I would say. So cooking the bacon until it's crispy. Then I'm gonna put everything else in. Well, maybe the onions and the peppers and the jalapeno just to get them nice and soft. And again, I wish you were here because it smells wonderful. And of course, you know, gonna have a lot of food. So, you know, Mike's always saying, yeah, I'm gonna stop by. I'll have a plate for you on the porch. Especially during quarantine, you know, because we couldn't all get together.
Yeah.
So the next picture I'd like to talk about is Galatois. Now, Galatois is one of the oldest restaurants in the country, dates back to 1905. And back then, I'm going to turn that heat down a little bit. Back then, they used to line up around the corner to get into this restaurant. Now, I have to say, I hosted my daughter's rehearsal dinner, and we had it at Galatois, and it was just wonderful.
Oh,
I want to say, I think we had the middle floor, and it was just beautiful. And the food was great. And again, you know, the whole week we had a week of everything was going on.
Yeah.
Throughout the week.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because weddings these days are like that, you know, it's not just one day.
Oh yeah,
now,
the rehearsals and
the that's right. That's right. Early parties, rehearsal party, after rehearsal party. So I am adding everything into the pan, so it's sauteing now. All the spices, put the spices in there.
And now the corn goes last.
Sorry?
The corn goes last?
The chicken stock goes last.
Wow.
And I'm getting a tickle in my throat. I have to take a sip. Why don't you bring up the next picture? I think that's what it is. Excuse me. So I guess you could bring up the picture of the second line.
Okay. So I have a question about the corn. You got me all excited here.
Yes, okay.
The corn goes, well, second to last.
Yes. And then the chicken, I'm going to have to take a cough drop. And then the chicken stock, to heat it up and warm it. This is becoming nice. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to start with the topping for the cake. I'm just going to get this going.
Those guys looked fun on your slide.
Sorry?
Those guys looked fun on the slide we just put up.
Yes, yes. So what they used to do was for funerals, they would have a parade to the cemetery, excuse me, and from the cemetery, and they would have a band and they would sing and dance in the street. After a while, weddings, they started doing it for weddings. So now it's a big thing. Now the main line is the people who are in the party. Second line is for everybody to join in, and they welcome it. So that's pretty neat. And again, it's just apropos for the atmosphere, which is party central, even in the afterlife. I think it's wonderful. And the people are so nice. Southern hospitality is just wonderful. So I have the butter melting right along, which is good. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to take out the salad. Now, okay. So for the salad, excuse me, because I I really needed to have that cough drop, because you're right. I think it is the spices that got the better of me over here. So what we have one box of mesclin salad greens. We have 4 tablespoons of dried cranberries, which have been soaking in 4 tablespoons of wine overnight. We have 2.5 ounces of sliced almonds, 1/2 cup of blue cheese. And then for the vinaigrette, we have 1/2 cup of vegetable oil, 1/4 cup of raspberry vinegar, blush raspberry vinegar, 1 tablespoon of water, 5 to 10 dashes of Tabasco sauce, which I'm bringing this over, 1 teaspoon of ground cinnamon, and 1 tablespoon of sugar. So for this, I'm just going to put the blue cheese on top, put the dried cranberries on top, give it a mix. It's real pretty. And I'm sure it's going to taste real good. I'm going to get my trusty thing over here. So this is pretty much melted. So to this, I'm going to add the sugar. Okay, I'm going to stir that in. I'm going to stir in the vanilla. And then I'm going to stir in the evaporated milk. Mix that all up. I'm going to stir in the pecans, and then the coconut. Now this is all getting melted, which is beautiful. So I'm just going to let this go. I'm going to turn down the heat and let those flavors meld together, which is really beautiful. I'm going to give the corn another stir. And that's beautiful. And then I'm just going to add all the ingredients for the salad dressing. I'm adding this so I don't forget it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That should be good. And so we have the sweet. We've got the hot sauce. We have a little more hot sauce. Oh, it's going to be good. We've got the oil, the cinnamon. I'll tell you. And then the vinegar. And oh, this goes on top here. The almonds. So get those in there. And that's good. And we put this on. And I always hope it's not going to make a mess. So we're going to do that. Get all of this out of the way. Okie doke. And oh goodness, we have to get the cake out of the oven, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm going to put that over here. Let's see how it's doing. I think it can go another 10 minutes, which is good. Perfect. That'll go another 10 minutes. Okay, so put this back over here. My nice little Louisiana pot holders. Why don't you go to picture number 8? And then you get to see my lovely face.
There you are.
Ah, there I am. That is Cafe du Monde. It opened in 1862. It's open 24/7. You get beignets there and cafe au lait.
Nice.
So I got this to take home to make, which I definitely have to do, but I'm sure you can get the recipe online. And basically they're French donuts. So the place is amazing. Whenever you go, pretty much it's packed with people. You have to wait in line for the longest time, but it's really worth it. Really, really delicious. So while that's happening, I'm going to shut this off and I'm going to transfer this to my bowl over here. I don't know if you can see this, maybe not. Again, I think we need an overhead camera. But this is beautiful, I have to say.
And
Smells
I
wonderful.
was gonna say, and like you say, one that has a smell-o-vision attached to it too.
Exactly.
That
it's very
good.
Oh yeah, and it's very colorful. So just like the city itself. Boy, it's so different, you know, from up here, I have to say. Hospitality, just wonderful. I have to say. Okay. Well, look at this. Is that beautiful?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to push this over a little bit. Put that here.
I'm definitely going to have to try that recipe. That one. You know, corn is so bland.
Mm-hmm.
Lovely when you get ideas like this.
Absolutely. I just put the dressing on the salad and just want to give this, oh my God, this smells wonderful. And I love blue cheese on anything. So this salad's going to be really wonderful. I'm going to put this over here. I'm going to check the topping for the cake, which is really good. And while I'm doing that, we're going to do the last item, which is the hurricane. Now, this is a famous dish, and it has all these neat ingredients. You have your light rum, your dark rum, grenadine, lime juice, you have simple syrup, you have maraschino cherries, you have orange half wheels, and you have this passion fruit puree. Now, you can get this in fine liquor stores, let me tell you, which is what I did. You will not believe what this tastes like. It's wonderful. So the first thing we did was we had some oysters. Oysters are very big down there. And then we had the poor boys. And of course we had the hurricanes. Now I'm going to double this, maybe even 3 times it. I think I'm going to 3 times it. So if we do 2 ounces, so we have to do 6 of these, right? So you can count with me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And again, no one's driving tonight, so we don't have to worry about that. We're all going to be safe. And then we're going to do the same with the dark rum. So we're going to do
another 6. 1.
Another 6. 1,
oh boy.
2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6. Now, obviously we won't be drinking this all tonight, but this will sit in the fridge and it'll come in handy when we just need a little something, no doubt. Then 1 ounce of lime juice. You can do a fresh squeeze, but I work full time. I don't have time for that. So I'm going to do 2 of these. No, 3. 1, 2, I think it's 3.
Oh,
Yeah.
3. Sorry.
Okay.
It wasn't
And
the rum.
then,
I didn't know I had to keep going.
and then we're going to do 1 ounce of orange juice. So again, and I have to do this like this. So we'll do 3 of these. 1, 2, 3. And I wonder, oh, you should smell this. I wonder when they were making this, if they made this to forget about the hurricanes, you know?
Maybe that's how it got its name. You're not going anywhere for a couple of days anyway, right? So
yeah.
Then that will last.
So the puree is a 1/2 ounce. So we're going to do 1 ounce and 1/2. I was not good at math, so, but I think that sounds right. And then simple syrup, same thing. And so we're going to do 1 1/2. Okay. And then we have your grenadine. Now it's just a teaspoon. So I'm going to just eyeball it, I think. A teaspoon. That's about, looks good to me. Smells wonderful. So we're gonna mix that up, and it looks about what it did down there. So that's pretty good. So I'm gonna wipe this, take a peek at the cake. Let's see about this. Okay, maybe another 2-3 minutes. I'm going to get 2 glasses. Because we will have these with dinner. And I won't have a full glass because I have to work tomorrow. We'll leave that there. And then, actually, if I could just take a sip. Oh, that's beautiful. We put the half wheel for the orange juice, Very
pretty.
Yeah, and then we have the maraschino cherries. Now, I don't know how these are gonna go, but you know, it's got the little things in here. They don't float. So I'll just put 3 in each. That sounds about right. And that's that. My hands are clean. I like to say. Okay. Put that over there. There's our drinks. We got our drinks, and then we have that. We have to push all this over because we have 2 more dishes we want to pull out. And we've got the cake, which actually I can put something on this and something on that. Okay, and I want to give this another stir. I'm going to pull the cake out. Now, for someone who doesn't bake, it's a cake, right?
Yes.
Right. And then we have this beautiful blend of the Bayou seafood casserole. How is that?
That looks beautiful too.
Yeah. And so here is actually what I want to do is I want to take a toothpick and just see if it comes clean. Looks clean enough to me. Again, I'm not the baker, right? But that's okay. We'll give it a go. And then you just want to pour this over the cake. As you can see, really nice. This is the pecan coconut topping. And it's actually sizzling. And I wish you could smell this. This is amazing. Oh, boy, this is really.
It all looks very amazing. Very, very exciting.
Really, really good.
Very colorful too.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to shut everything off. We have about, what, 5-6 minutes left?
Yes. Yep.
About that. So one thing we can talk about is the vibrant music scene. So you've got Louis Armstrong, who they used to call Satchmo. And Satchmo means satchel mouth. And that's how the musicians would put their lips on the lips of the instrument that they were blowing into. So they called him Satchmo for short. And he kind of invented jazz. But when you think about it, they took church music and they took um, swing, the they did home music, church music, and barroom music. That's what they put together to come up with the jazz. And there are a couple of brothers that I listened to back in the 90s, the Marsalis brothers, Witten and Ellis. And they're just amazing. If you call them up and listen to some of their music, they're just amazing. And then you have Harry Connick Jr. They're all from New Orleans, as well as Louis Armstrong. So that was interesting. And if you want to pull up another picture of Jackson Square, this is the beginning of the square. It was around in the Civil War days. They have hundreds of music festivals. When we were there, it was the weekend of the French Quarter Festival, the weekend before the big jazz festival that they have every year. So that was pretty interesting. Yeah, and you can see it's just this big park beyond there, which is wonderful. And then if you pull up the next slide, you've got a picture of Mardi Gras.
Oh my goodness. Which,
if you look at that, the night that we had our rehearsal dinner, and we were in the French Quarter because we were going to an after dinner gathering down in the French Quarter from Galatois. And I said to Chelsea, I said, oh my goodness, this is crazy. And she said, Mom, this is nothing. You should see it during Mardi Gras. Now, I've never been there during Mardi Gras, but that's what it looks like. And it's like that 24/7. And it's like that for the week. It's actually most likely longer. And it leads up to the beginning of Lent. Now, Lent is on Wednesday, and that's why they call it Fat Tuesday. So they cook with all the fats to bulk up so that they can sacrifice and practice abstinence. And I know all about Lent, let me tell you, every year. And I'll tell you, that sounds good to me, to go down there and prepare for it, because Lent is not easy. Lent is for a long time.
Yeah, 40 days.
Yes, and 40 nights. 40 nights, exactly. So, so again, what do we have here? Oh, and I have to pay a nod to Tony Chaquera's spice. That's Cajun spicing. We have Voodoo Heat over here. So you can find whatever. This is real popular though. Everybody loves, they call it Tony C's, and they throw it on everything. Popcorn, meats, salads, you name it, eggs, goes on everything. So I did use this tonight in our dishes. And again, what we have the Louisiana Sunray salad. We have the blend of the Bayou seafood casserole. We have Cajun corn maque chow corn dish. And we end it with a Cajun cake, which is a pineapple and coconut cake. And drinking our hurricanes. And again, you know, just hoping everybody in Florida is safe and well, and that Hurricane Ian just takes off and goes home. But this is pretty good.
Well,
so Ashley,
30-second wrap, Matt.
Ashley, it's been wonderful co-hosting with you.
Thank you.
I look forward to doing it again. Look forward to doing it again. And yes, I want to thank everyone for being here, and can't wait for next time when we all get together for the gathering, Terry's Travels. Take care. Be well.